Piscopo on the radio, 729 on AM 970. The Answer. Joe Grano is the founder and CEO of many, many companies. You know what I love about Joe? He was a Green Beret captain in Vietnam. He was catastrophically wounded, yet he still put all that aside as a true American hero that Joe Grano is. And he went on to become a Wall Street icon, fighting for Wall Street, making Wall Street sustain through 9/11, and a true American hero. And it was just a privilege to have Joe on the show with us. Joe Grano, welcome back, and a good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning, Joseph. How are you?
We're doing good, Joe. It's great to hear your voice. Holidays went well for you?
Oh, yeah. Kids came in from L.A. It was good.
Did you hang out with your next door neighbor, George Clooney? Just asking.
No, I wasn't in Italy, no. No, I did not.
And listen, I stand by. I got the plane ticket when you want to invite me, Joe. I'm just saying, not to put pressure on you, man. It is great.
Oh, hey, I have a lantern with your name on it. Don't worry.
I love it. Joe, what was your reaction when you saw the news of President Trump withdrawing troops from Syria, sir?
Well, look, it's part of his pattern. I think the president has very good instincts, and he's literally right about the fact that we can't have troops policing the world forever. But the way he did it was not a coordinated message, which causes other problems. I mean, you've got allies, particularly with Israel, that are going to be very much impacted. In Syria today, it's not just the U.S., but we have special forces from the United Kingdom and France, and the Syrian Democratic Forces, which are really led by the Kurds, feel they're let down because it wasn't a coordinated message. I think ultimately it's the right thing to do, but it's something that has to be thought through relative to its execution.
And John Bolton, a national security advisor to the president, says our troops will not leave until ISIS is totally defeated. That's the president said that himself, correct?
Well, the president said that ISIS has been defeated, and Bolton, I think, is trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again a little bit. So he's there, trying to appease the interested parties as best he can. Yeah. I do believe the president realizes that it was probably not well thought out, the message. And look, he had a very tough December, and the president likes to come out with a little bit of shock and awe and deflect, and he's very good at it. I think he'd like to have this one back.
Yeah, Joe Grano, I tell you, you're making a lot of sense here this morning, and I know, and you're really a true American hero in the sense of you and what Jack Jacobs, what you gentlemen went through during the Vietnam War, Joe. First of all, thank you for your service, sir. We appreciate that so much. Now, you look at Afghanistan, what's happening in Afghanistan. What would you like to see the United States do in regards to Afghanistan, Joe Grano?
Well, I think we're committed at this point to stay in Afghanistan for some while. You look what happened when the Russians left. Immediately, the vacuum was filled with dissenting parties. The same thing would happen to us, I think, if we left.
Yeah, it's a good.
My longer term view is that I would like to see the free world. That's France, United Kingdom, Italy, ourselves, Australia. I think we need to send a message to the Middle East that says, hey, wait a minute, this is your problem. Don't transition your minority problem with terrorism, et cetera, to us. We will support you, but you will create a coalition army. We'll put troops on the ground, too, behind you, not in front. We'll give you the air cover, but you must solve your own problem. And if you don't, we're not going to sell you your products or buy yours. And people ultimately do what they're paid to do. And I think that the whole issue has to go back to the countries in the Middle East, and they need to really take the lead in solving their own problem.
Yeah, being a military guy, Joe Grano, General Mattis has left as Secretary of Defense. Do you know anything about acting Secretary of Defense Patrick Shanahan?
I do not know him. He's wearing several hats. What I have read about him, he's a pretty good guy. I hated to see Mattis leave because I thought he was an excellent person for the president to rely on these issues. And the same with Kelly. I mean, he's had a tough December. Kelly and Mattis both resigning. John Bolton will take on, in my opinion, a more assertive role.
Yeah.
And I think the rudder in the chaotic sea is going to be Pompeo.
Yeah. How much do you like this guy? I had a chance to meet him. Do you know a Secretary of State?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know, but so far,
yeah.
Whether it be the negotiations with North Korea or what he's doing now with Turkey alongside of John Bolton, I think he's very level-headed and pragmatic, which is what I think we need.
Joe Grano with Joe Piscopo on the radio. It is 7:34. Appreciate your time, Mr. Grano. What do you want to hear the president say in his remarks tonight from the Oval Office, Joe?
Well, look, I think he's going to spend most of the time tonight justifying his position on the wall at the border. And frankly, it was one of his campaign promises. And in the grandiose scheme of things, I think the Democrats are simply saying no to him only because they don't want him to have any kind of victory. They're dead wrong. Let the man have his wall. I do think that it does assist in terms of securing the border.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more an issue of not letting him have a win, and I think that's ridiculous. That's not the way to run your government. So, it's what got him elected. So the American people have already spoken, and the Democrats should listen to the American people.
Joe, you're a Wall Street icon. Are you optimistic, sir, about the economy for 2019?
I think I think the United States will still see positive GDP growth around 2.5%, not the 3 to 3.5 that people are talking about. Mm-hmm. I think we've had a shot of adrenaline with the tax cuts that corporations have gotten. What disturbs me a little bit is that the earnings are being hit, but the revenue line is not, and that's not sustainable. So I see a moderate slowdown from what we've experienced in the last quarter. But I think it's time to be a little bit pragmatic, take some chips off the table, and be in a position with some liquidity to take advantage of some great buys as we go forward.
And why have we seen so much stock market volatility, Joe?
Well, right now it's year-end. People taking tax losses and cleaning up their balance sheet going into the first quarter. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of hedge funds have seen net withdrawals, so have mutual funds. So you got to sell stocks in order to feed that liquidity desire. So I think that'll calm down a little. Look, volatility is not going to go away, but it's not going to be as acute as you saw in the month of December, in my opinion. But I think you need to brace yourself for ups and downs in this market because there isn't a clear, concise direction right now. And I advise a little bit of caution.
Joe, you're very gracious with your time. Joe Grano is the former chairman of the Homeland Security Advisory Committee, Wall Street icon, former Green Beret captain, served in Vietnam valiantly. Joe, before we let you go, I got to lean on our friendship a little bit because you're very close with Frankie Valli, man, and Bob Gaudio and the Four Seasons. And before we let you go, this is neither here nor there. How did that happen? How did Joe Grano and Frankie Valli end up together hanging out?
Well, first of all, now I'm trustee of both of their estates.
Oh, my gosh.
But they're alive and doing well.
Yeah.
I hired Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons to entertain my best brokers at Merrill Lynch some 35 years ago.
Wow.
And he had a meet and greet with management, which lasted about an hour.
Yeah.
6 months later, he shows up at my office unannounced with 6 other people, including Bob Gaudio, and said, "Joe, I need your advice." I said, "What?" He said, "Well, you're the one I trust," after an hour. So at any rate, I listened to this proposal, and I said, "Do not do that." I threw the other 5 guys out of the office. Yeah. And I told he and Bob Gaudio, get rid of these people. This is a terrible deal for you.
Wow.
Well, they didn't listen. And they lost like $5 million in 6 months.
Whoops.
And the next year I hired him again for another group. He walks on the stage, and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, people have told me what to do all my life. Only one person has told me what not to do, and I'll never not listen to him again. Here, President Joe Grano." And I've been giving him advice ever since. We're good friends.
That is great. It's a beautiful friendship. It is. And Joe, I appreciate our friendship as well, my friend. We love you and appreciate you being on the show with us this morning, Joe Grano. Talk to you soon and see you sooner,
Okay.
Joe. Thank you.
Good. Be healthy.
Thank you, my friend. Happy New Year. Joe Grano right there with Piscopo in the morning, 7:38.